HorsePlayerNow.com's Joe Christofek alongside Caton Bradar. And Caton, you can be a great handicapper. You can be great at putting tickets together. But at the end of the day, money management is going to be the telltale sign and the importance of whether or not you win or lose.
Well, absolutely. Racing is not any different than any other form of entertainment or gambling venture that you enter into. You wouldn't go out the door to any other sporting event and not have some idea of about how much you're willing to spend on the tickets, on the refreshments, and on everything else that entails a day. At the races, in this case, you want to do the same thing. You want to have a clear idea of how much you have to spend, and you don't want to overspend or bet over your head.
Well, there's an ATM machine about 100 yards from us, and I don't like visiting ATM machines when I'm at the racetrack. That means you're chasing, that means you're losing. Everyone has a set bankroll, whether it's $20, $50, $100, $1,000 when they go to the track. I think money management is all about maximizing opportunities.
Well, yeah, and you have to take advantage of the places and the races that you really like or feel strongly about. You talk all the time about having an opinion. Well, you can have a lukewarm opinion about some races and you can have a strong opinion about others. And the important part is to make sure that you maximize your bankroll using it in those races that you have the strongest opinions.
And a lot of that comes with watching one circuit really closely, maybe two circuits if you're stretching, depending on how much time you have, handicapping the card in advance, zeroing in on the horses you really like, and then finding out how to play those horses, whether it's in multi-race wagers or in intra-race wagers.
Right, and you also want to work to your strong suits. For example, if you're better with one type of race, or you just have confidence with grass races or maiden races, whatever your specialty is, look for those races rather than chase other races that you haven't had that kind of success. You want to, again, use that bankroll wisely in the places that you have the most confidence.
How many people do you know, Caton, that sit at an off-track betting facility or at the racetrack or play on an ADW that play whatever race is coming up next? They play 50 races a day from 10 different racetracks that actually stay ahead.
They go broke pretty quickly, actually, and they're out of here. You do have to plan your day. You have to plan out which tracks and which races you're really going to use your money on. And you also have to use patience, because you could go in the door and wait all day long for one particular race. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no prize for using all your money early in the day. You really want to look and see which races are the ones you're most interested in making a wager on, and use some restraint to wait for them when they come up.
Like if I have a $200 bankroll for the day, but I really like the late pick four sequence, I might be willing to bet 96, almost half of my bankroll, into that late pick four sequence, because maybe I'm going to score a pick four that's going to pay me back 10-1 odds versus betting horses that I really don't like.
And oftentimes at a lot of tracks, for me personally, the earlier races on the card are the lesser quality races. They're the hardest for me to come up with a strong opinion, and a lot of times not the best betting opportunities either so far as the odds are concerned. So I'll usually use those early races as an opportunity to kind of see how my handicapping is playing out without maybe jumping into the windows. I'm just going to handicap, see how my picks are doing, see if I feel confident about later on. I'll also see which way the track is playing too, and then wait for those better races a little later.
Anyone that knows me knows that I like to call playing the races investing and not gambling. If you have a strong opinion, it's an investment. You're trying to make money. It's entertainment too. You can have fun at the races, lose $50 and still have a great time. But if you're going to take this game seriously, I think it's more of an investment than a gamble.
Oh, for sure. And you do have to make sure that you bet with your head, and that you do decide going into it that you're not going to get crazy based on success or failure. Now, if early in the day you're not doing very well and you did have some races that you tried to bet, maybe it is a good idea to scale back just a little bit. But you don't want to stop completely and give up, because maybe your strongest opinion came later in the day, and that's the one race that you could have made up for all the losses, and vice versa. When you're doing really well early in the day, it's very tempting to continue doubling down and going with it. And that's not a very good idea either, because maybe you were just stronger on that early part of the card. You don't want to give away everything that you've gotten so far.
It's best to be an expert on one circuit, maybe two. Watch replays, know the trends of the trainers and the jockeys, know the trends of the racetrack, and then put that expertise to use at the windows. Caton, let's talk about preparation. You want to handicap in advance, most likely. And then at the same time, maybe making your own morning line isn't such a bad idea. If you learn how to do that, you can figure out what horses may provide value for you?
You definitely should, in your mind, have a clear idea of what fair odds are and what represents risk versus reward. You know, sometimes the horse that you did like quite a bit is just going to be too short a price to jump in too deeply into that race. So maybe you reassess and say, well, I'm not going to bet him to win now. I'm going to maybe not invest quite as much into this race because I don't stand to win as much as I'd hoped, and I don't think that gamble is worth the possible payoff, even if he does win.
Big part of money management is being able to pull up when you're not doing too well, or being able to maybe fire when you feel like you're in a hot streak and try to maximize the fact that you're doing really, really well and everything seems to be clicking. But a lot of people have ADW accounts right now, Caton, and when I go to the window, I'm handing over cash money. I'm leaving the racetrack with cash money, hopefully. When you have an ADW account, you got to be careful because there's an account balance. That is real money, too.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to keep track of that, though. In your head, it does seem a little bit like Monopoly money or something that's out there in cyberspace. You kind of have to treat it exactly the same way as you would real money. And when you do get ahead and when you get a certain amount of money built up in there, it's a good idea to go ahead and cash out and get them to send you that check back or get some of that money back when you're actually showing a profit. Also, equally good idea, though, to always keep a little bit in that ADW account because you never know when the next good thing is going to come up.
When you're playing the races, more of less, as far as money management goes, is always a good thing. For Caton Brader, I'm Joe Christofek. Enjoy the show.